Welcome back, everyone. Okay, let's just dive right into this because today we're exploring a topic that so many people in this community are navigating, and honestly, usually with a lot of anxiety. We're talking about egg quality. If you've ever felt like your biological clock is this ticking time bomb, or maybe you've been told your AMH levels are too low, well, this explainer is absolutely for you. I mean, it's so easy to feel totally doomed by a diagnosis like that, right? But the sources we're analyzing today, from fertility expert Dr. Mark Sklar, offer this incredibly refreshing and empowering perspective. The big takeaway here, your eggs aren't necessarily bad. They might just be living in an environment that isn't supporting them. And the best part is, changing that environment is entirely possible. Now, you might be wondering, why is 3 months the magic number in the fertility world? Well, it's all about the follicular development cycle. It takes exactly 90 days for an egg to fully mature from the precise moment it's recruited from your ovarian reserve until it's actually ovulated. Think about what that means. What you do today, what you eat, how you manage stress, the internal environment you're creating, literally impacts the exact egg you'll release 3 months from now. You have 90 days of direct influence. So, to get there, we're going to follow a very specific blueprint for this explainer. First, the 90-day window. Second, fixing the cracked foundation. Third, blood sugar and inflammation. Fourth, gut health. Fifth, hidden toxins. And finally, number 6, mitochondrial health. Okay, let's jump right into section 2, fixing the cracked foundation and addressing those root causes. So Dr. Sklar mentions that most women go straight for a literal shopping bag full of vitamins the second they get a worrying fertility diagnosis. But here's why jumping straight to the supplement aisle is a huge mistake. Taking a massive handful of expensive pills without changing your internal environment first, it's exactly like painting the walls of a house when the foundation is actively cracking. You're trying to make it look nice on the surface, but the underlying structure is failing. The real goal has to be fixing that foundation. You absolutely have to address root causes like chronic inflammation and blood sugar imbalances first, or those pricey supplements won't even have the chance to do their job. So how does this actually look as an action plan? Well, there are 5 foundational steps we need to tackle before you even worry about taking a single fertility pill. We've got to balance blood sugar, reduce inflammation, optimize our gut health, detoxify from environmental toxins, and finally, support our mitochondria. These are the crucial pillars of a healthy reproductive environment. Moving on to section 3, blood sugar and inflammation. Let's look at those first 2 pillars. Step 1 is balancing your blood sugar. And honestly, most of us don't even realize that the subtle spikes and crashes we experience throughout the day are creating massive oxidative stress. This stress actively damages your eggs at the cellular level. It throws off hormones like insulin, which then creates this domino effect crashing right into your reproductive hormones like estrogen and progesterone. To fix this, your daily action items are actually pretty simple. First, never skip meals. That just causes a dangerous crash. Make sure every single plate has a solid mix of protein, healthy fats, and fiber to slow down glucose absorption. Cut back on processed sugars. And hey, if you really want to dial it in, consider wearing a continuous glucose monitor to see exactly how your body is responding to specific foods in real time. Step 2 tackles a total silent fertility killer, which is chronic inflammation. And we aren't talking about a swollen, sprained ankle here. We are talking about low-grade, constant, systemic inflammation. This comes from things like food sensitivities, chronic stress, or even just really poor sleep. It creates a deeply hostile internal environment for conception because when you're inflamed, your body simply doesn't feel safe. So the goal is getting onto an anti-inflammatory action plan. Think lots of dark leafy greens, wild-caught fish rich in omega-3s, and plenty of berries. Dr. Sklar also highly suggests doing a 30-day elimination of common triggers, mainly gluten and dairy, just to see how your body responds. The source material shares this amazing story of a patient named Jamie. She had multiple failed IUIs, she felt completely fine day to day, and she honestly thought her diet was healthy. But after doing some comprehensive testing, adopting this 30-day elimination diet, and eating anti-inflammatory foods, she got pregnant naturally. Her body literally just needed that internal inflammation to calm down. Which brings us to section 4, the gut health connection. It's time to support this second brain. We hear the gut called the second brain all the time now, but how exactly does it affect our eggs? Well, it all comes down to dysbiosis, which is basically an imbalance in your gut bacteria. Dr. Sklar states it super plainly. If your gut is inflamed, your fertility is suffering, period. Your gut is literally where you absorb your nutrients and regulate your hormones. So if your gut lining is damaged, it creates system-wide inflammation. And remember, your body has deep biological priorities. If it is stuck in survival mode because of a bacterial imbalance, it is absolutely not going to prioritize reproductive hormones. It won't feel safe enough to conceive. To repair this, you can follow a really straightforward gut support checklist. Start adding fermented foods like sauerkraut or kimchi to your meals. Take a high-quality women's probiotic. Eat plenty of vegetable fiber because that's what feeds the good bacteria. And really try to avoid the overuse of antibiotics, which can totally wipe out your beneficial microbiome.
Okay, Section 5, Hidden Environmental Toxins. Let's talk about detoxifying chemicals.
I'm not gonna lie, step 4 honestly feels like the most overwhelming one because chemicals are just everywhere. We really need to talk about endocrine disruptors. These are chemicals like BPA, phthalates, parabens, and pesticides. And what's incredibly alarming is that these chemicals literally mimic estrogen in the body. They completely confuse your hormonal system, they damage egg quality, and they can physically reduce your ovarian reserve. Because these things are totally invisible, Dr. Sklar emphasizes the absolute importance of environmental toxin testing. This isn't just some general, oh, you have toxins, guessing game. It's an incredibly specific test designed to show you exactly which chemicals are currently trapped in your body so you know precisely where to start clearing them out.
And this leads to just an absolutely wild story from the source material. There was a woman in Dr. Sklar's program who thought she was doing everything perfectly. I mean, she was eating organic food, using glass containers, buying all the clean beauty products, doing all the right things. But when she took this specific environmental toxin test, her results came back positive for 20 different environmental toxins at high levels. 20! No way, right? Which immediately begs the question, if she was eating organic and doing clean beauty, where on earth were all these specific hidden toxins coming from? Well, the hidden sources sabotaging her fertility were things she hadn't even considered. The chemical air fresheners hanging in her car, the dry cleaning chemicals lingering on her professional clothes in her closet, the chemical flame retardant sprayed onto the fabric of her living room couch. These toxins just silently accumulate over time, and they severely impact the body's ability to prioritize reproduction. But don't panic, because you can start lowering your daily toxic load right now. Switch entirely to glass or stainless steel for your food and water storage. Buy organic, especially for produce on the Dirty Dozen list, so you can avoid those pesticides. Do a quick audit of your personal care products using the Environmental Working Group's Skin Deep database, just to ensure they are truly clean. And use a high-quality water filter to strip out things like chlorine and fluoride. It's really just about systematically cleaning up your everyday environment so your liver can finally catch up. Finally, we've reached Section 6, Mitochondrial Health, the final step. This is step 5 of the protocol, and notice that this is exactly where that famous shopping bag of vitamins actually comes into play. We saved it for last on purpose. You probably remember from middle school biology that mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cell, right? Well, your eggs require a massive amount of energy to mature, fertilize, and actually develop into an embryo. That vital energy comes entirely from your mitochondria. And unfortunately, mitochondrial function just naturally declines as we age. So the relationship between these specific supplements and the foundation we just spent all this time building is absolutely critical. Once, and literally only once, you have stabilized your blood sugar, lowered your inflammation, healed your gut, and detoxed your environment, then these supplements become incredibly powerful. Things like QQ10, PQQ, and NAD precursors finally have a solid, healthy structure to work within. They can actually protect your cells from oxidative stress and boost that cellular energy. Dr. Sklar shared a story of a 41-year-old patient who had low AMH and 3 failed IVFs. She was flat out told her only option was donor eggs. But she spent 90 days following these exact foundational steps. She did a gentle detox, took targeted mitochondrial support, and she got pregnant naturally. Her eggs weren't the problem at all. Her internal environment was. And this brings us to a quote that just perfectly summarizes this entire explainer. It's not just about taking a pill, it's about changing the whole soil so the seed can grow. Preparing your body's internal environment is the true secret to success here. You can't just drop a seed in toxic, dry dirt and expect it to flourish just because you sprinkled some really expensive fertilizer on top of it, right? So the crucial takeaway for today is that you are not doomed by a diagnosis. Your body might just be asking for some deeper foundational support. You have this fascinating 90-day biological window to completely change the environment your eggs are maturing in. The power is actually right there in your hands, starting with your very next meal.
You have 90 days. So what are you going to do with day 1? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this gives you the structured roadmap you need to move forward with total confidence.